Everybody, let's talk about this. This is an amp closet that we have here at the studio. And just in case you were thinking of doing something like this yourself as a DIY, I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So this room is 4 feet by 4 feet by 8 feet, and we use it to record heavy guitars here. So we put the 4x12 cabs in there, and it's what we call Closet B. That's Closet B, that's Closet A. And the way this works is we have a steel door, an external steel door. And I don't know if you can tell, but you've got steel, and then you got foam in between. And it comes with its own door jamb. This is the door jamb. And you've got a waterproof seal. At least I think it's waterproof. It's for an exterior door. But that essentially means that the door is airtight. And you kind of need that if you're expecting any kind of soundproofing, because if you have an air gap in your door, it's going to bleed all the sound out. So you've got a threshold on the floor, and the floor this is a concrete slab with an underlayment, and then you've got an industrial carpet on there. And I wanted to talk about the sound blocking. There's actually two things going on here. You've got the acoustical treatment, okay, to reduce reflections. And then you've also got soundproofing or sound blocking. I think people use those terms interchangeably. So the way this works is that the walls are framed with wood, like you would in a house. But then on top of the framing, you've got 3/4 inch plywood that's been put everywhere. So that's all plywood. That's plywood on the back wall. That's plywood. And that's plywood there on the ceiling. And yeah, and then you have, as I said, you have a concrete slab with essentially 2 layers on top, the underlayment and then the carpet. Now, there are 3 complications to doing a room like this. The first is the lighting. So that is a pot light, so it's recessed into the ceiling. Now, the way you would normally do it is your 3/4 inch plywood or whatever sound blocking material you have. You would build a box in the ceiling and then put the pot light inside it. That would be the best way of doing it. This, however, was not done that way. What was done here is they just put 3/4 inch plywood just right on top as a one piece and then cut a hole in it right there. It's not the best way of doing it, but it works okay. We haven't had any issues. The second complication is, as you can imagine, you got to have a way to get cables and things in and out of this room. So you can't really see it here, and I'm going to do it in a separate video. I'm going to show it off, but you've got framed square holes right at the bottom there that allows cables to pass through. So like we have a closet next door. It supplies that closet, and then it takes everything eventually to the control room. So I'm going to do a separate video to show how we did that. The third complication is ventilation. Now, there's not going to be a person in here, okay? If this was a vocal booth, then you'd have somebody in here, and there'd be issues if they didn't have any kind of air circulation. They might suffocate to death in here. So normally you'd have some kind of ventilation. Now, this is just an amp closet, so we don't have any ventilation, nor would you keep the amp heads in here. We don't actually use that. You would just have the speaker cabs, okay? And then your heads or anything else that could produce heat or something, that would be going into your control room. So that's how we did that. Now, let's finally talk about this pyramid foam that's on the walls. Now, this foam actually comes from, I believe the supplier was Foam Factory for this. It was many years ago, actually. But this is the 4-inch pyramid foam. And then we have these, I think it's 4-inch by 4-inch pieces, like whatever they call these rectangular pieces. So those go in the corners. And I don't know if you can see at the back, but all the corners have those. And I can't remember what adhesive they used. We had some problems with the original adhesive that was used with this. It was not very good. So we had to source something else. I can't remember what we used. I'll put that in another video. But what this does is this does nothing for soundproofing. That means that if you're making a loud noise in this space, it's going to go through the walls. This is not going to do anything to stop the sound going through the wall into the next room or between floors of a building. Okay, all this does is it's called acoustic treatment. It just stops the reflections within this space. And it's actually pretty damn critical because, as you can appreciate, you've got a 4x12 here. You got a lot of sound coming straight out of this. And as you can hopefully see from the camera here, that is going to hit this surface, the backside of the door, head on, okay? And if you don't have any kind of acoustic treatment, okay, anywhere in this room, especially on the backside of the door, okay, the sound is going to bounce right off the door and then come straight back and get into your microphone, wherever your microphone is, somewhere in between the two. And it's going to sound like crap, absolute crap. The other thing is that you need something on the floor. If you have like a solid flat floor, like a hardwood floor or something, and you have speaker elements right here, they're going to bounce off the floor, then they're going to hit the door, then they're going to come back into your microphone. Or they're just going to go straight to the door and then bounce off the floor and then back into your microphone. Everything is going to be bouncing around in this room, and it's going to create all kinds of comb filtering, and it's going to sound like absolute garbage. And the end result is you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but if you try to record in a room like this without any acoustic treatment on any of the walls or incomplete acoustic treatment, the end result is that no matter what type of sound you're getting in here, what you record is always going to sound like crap. You will not be able to get a good sound in such a room. That's why you need this. So that's the idea behind it. You need it on the floor, you need it on all the surfaces, and it's absolutely critical. So yeah, that's why we have these things here. I mean, we have carpet, but it's not very thick. So we put this stuff here if you're recording some of the speakers at the bottom there. It's pretty important. So I'm going to do some more videos on this. And if anyone has any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.